Alright there guys, and welcome back to another video, and we're finally able to cover an anime that was released this year. Finally, the first batch of anime of the year have finished with the end of the 2022 winter season. So today we're covering the hottest slice of life anime with probably best girl of the season. Today we're covering My Dress Up Darling. This anime is centered all around cosplay. Something, despite being so big within the anime community, you don't actually see many shows use cosplay as a form of plot, but this show does. So it starts off with our main character Gojo, who works and lives at a Hina doll shop that his grandpa owns. He recalls a time of his childhood when a young girl told him that his passion of loving to make Hina dolls is weird and insults him about it before running off. But that doesn't stop Gojo still making them. And that's pretty much what he enjoys doing the most. So when he's at school, he doesn't really talk to anyone and he hasn't got any friends. Until on one day, he's just sitting at his desk, minding his own business. Before you know it, there's a girl that comes flying through the air and smashes her table right on the edge of his seat. In real life, that would have probably killed her. But in this show, she just gets straight back up and just goes, ow, and then that was it, as if it barely even happened. This is our other main character, Kitagawa, who is who you're looking at right now. So Kitagawa is with her friends, and one of her friends tells a story of when a guy came up to her and said that she's a loser because he saw an anime keychain attached to Kitagawa's bag. And Kitagawa told the guy to go to hell, and I'd rather be that than a stalker. Sat his ass right down. And Gojo thinks, well, that's the interaction between him and Kitagawa over then. Only for the school day to end, he goes down to the sewing room, and Kitagawa just so happens to walk in as well. As Gojo tries to hide the Hina dolls, and almost drops one, has to do some extraordinary jump work to jump and catch it. And then he finally shows Kitagawa, and she's actually pleasantly surprised about it, and says his passion isn't weird whatsoever. Now this is where she tells Gojo that her passion is cosplay, and she needs a little bit of help making her outfits. And now Gojo is the one who's suddenly getting weirded out. Yes, a refreshing take on the girl being the one into all the nerdy shit that people like me are into, and the guy having no idea about any of it. So Kitagawa asks Gojo can he help her make the costume, and he agrees. Even if Gojo gets very nervous at taking her measurements at the school and then later again at his house. Because he's never been this close to a girl ever, never mind with barely any clothes on. And Kitagawa tells Gojo that she wants to cosplay a character from a game called Slippery Girls. Whatever you're imagining right now, you're probably right. So she gives Gojo a copy of the game for research purposes, that's in quote marks by the way, in order to make her outfit. He works himself half to death just to get it done. His grandpa ends up being put in hospital because of a bad back he had. But Gojo just manages to finish it in time for a cosplay event that Kitagawa said she wanted to go to, but then said she didn't actually mean that one, and Gojo's thinking, are you serious? But they decide to go anyway. With Kitagawa's cosplay, he gets everything done. The wig, the costume, her makeup, everything, and it looks pretty damn good. Then they go to the event, and Kitagawa is having people asking her for photos. Something I know very well because I've done that. I've done that at conventions myself. And on the very one rare occasion, I even had someone ask me for a photo. Still can't believe I managed that happened. So at the cosplay event, there's actually 3 cosplay characters, a little bit off to the side. That if you don't have a keen eye, which I clearly didn't, because I had to watch this scene twice to notice this. Hori, Yoshikawa, and the guy with green hair, all from Horimiya, were characters being cosplayed at this event. Now, why were they in this show? Well, they were here because Cloverworks, the studio that animated this show, also animated Horimiya a year ago. So that's why they were here. Nice little callback to the work they did a year ago. So after the cosplay event, of which Kitagawa nearly passes out from being so hot, I kind of get where she's coming from. Like, if you're at a convention and it's really warm, especially if you're doing it in the summer like I did, and you're wearing like a lot of clothing, which when I was cosplaying Tamaki, I was, it's really hot. Like, yeah, you will get really hot. So, Gojo gets home on a different day, and it's raining, and there's some girl just standing outside of his house. He has no idea who she is, until she finds out that this is the person, he was the one she was looking for. This girl is called Sajuna, or her cosplay name, Juju-chan. She basically stalked Gojo and followed him home after the cosplay event because he saw Kitagawa tweet some photos of her cosplay at the convention, or the cosplay meet even, that's what it was. And she was very annoyed because of how good it looked. And she's like the most famous cosplayer in the area where her and Kitagawa live. So she went to the cosplay meet, looked from the shadows at Gojo and Kitagawa, and then followed him home. Then she asks him to also do a cosplay for her. So Gojo now has 2 cosplays on the go. Gojo could have turned the Hina shop into a Hina /cosplay outfit shop. He'd be raking in a lot more money that way. So Gojo makes Juju-chan's cosplay as well. And then they all meet up in a restaurant so Juju can show them a DSLR camera that she has. And she brings her younger sister, Shinju-chan, along with her, who you would be mistaken for believing is the older sister of Juju-chan because of how much taller she is and how much bigger her chest is, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Juju-chan is actually the oldest person out of these lot. Then it's Gojo and Kitagawa together, and then it's Shinju below them. When it's probably you would probably swap around Juju and Shinju if you looked at them in terms of their age. So they all look for a cosplay location to do a photo shoot at, where do you think they pick? If your answer was an abandoned hospital, you were right. Yeah, they just walk into some random abandoned hospital. Imagine if abandoned buildings were that easy to get into in real life. God, anyone could make a haunted abandoned exploring video these days. If it was that easy. So they used the hospital, they used different parts of the hospital for different lighting, which is actually quite clever if you think about it. After they have a good time taking cosplay photos at the abandoned hospital, it starts raining, and Juju-chan actually gets quite sad. But she's very much reassured by Gojo about her fears. So on their way home, Gojo and Shinju actually end up just together, just the two of them, as Kitagawa and Sajuna have left. And Gojo asks Shinju, does she want to cosplay? Because she's always looked eager to do it, but she's never said anything about it. And the answer is yes, Shinju actually wants to cosplay as well. But the thing is, she wants to cosplay a guy. Basically because the guy reminds him a lot of her sister. And hey, girls cosplaying guys is a very, very common thing in real life. But guys cosplaying girls is not a very common thing. And we know why, because guys cannot pull off cosplays of female characters as well as girls can pull off cosplays of male characters. So Gojo gets to work on helping Shinju with her cosplay and needs to find something to make her chest smaller because guys don't have huge chests, if you know what I mean. He does manage to finish it off, and she's still worried that Sajuna will be annoyed at her for trying to cosplay as well. But no, the reaction is the complete opposite. Sajuna and Kitagawa are completely blown away by Shinju's cosplay, and they both absolutely love it. After that, Kitagawa ends up taking Gojo to a love hotel. Yes, stay with me. As she is wanting to do another new cosplay, this time as a succubus. No, it's nothing like Albedo from Overlord. If anything, she looks a little bit more like Shaltia from Overlord than Albedo. She gets changed, and Gojo turns on the TV, and they're in a love hotel, so take a guess what's on the TV. Strange noises that you wouldn't want to hear, that you wouldn't want anyone else hearing. But Gojo, being the Chad that he is, turns that thing off before Kitagawa even gets back out of the bathroom back into the main bedroom. And the two of them have another photo shoot, where Gojo even tells Kitagawa to sit on top of him to get the photo shoot. And you may have even seen me tweet a picture of Kitagawa recently from that episode of her on top of Gojo. But he ends up dropping the phone, and it just so happens to hit the button that turns the light switch off. So Gojo and Kitagawa grab hold of each other, and it looks like they're about to kiss. But we know the stories of romance slice of life anime. We know it's not going to happen, and it doesn't. As the hotel room's phone goes off, interrupting them. And my god, if you were wearing headphones listening to that, it is really loud. The phone going off is super loud. And then we reach the final episode where Kitagawa invites Gojo over to her house to watch a horror movie with him, and it just so happened to be the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, or at least that's what it was a reference to. Remember the scene at the end of the movie where that woman is on the back of a pickup truck with blood all over her, and Leatherface is swinging his chainsaw around and over his head? It was that very scene. I would never have expected to see a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reference in a slice-of-life romance anime, but here we are. Then the two of them go to a fireworks festival, because you can't have a romance anime without a fireworks festival. We know the unwritten rules. The two of them have a great time. Kitagawa was even wearing a yukata because, God forbid, characters wear anything else other than a yukata there. And then the day comes to a close and they go to sleep. Well, Gojo does, after Kitagawa keeps him up for a little bit longer. She watched the sequel, so I would guess they didn't show it, but I'm guessing it would have been the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 from, what was it, 1976? So her and Gojo are talking on the phone for a little bit longer. Gojo ends up falling asleep, and Kitagawa, who earlier in the show realised that she was head over heels in love with Gojo, just because of the way his passion for what he does, and it's the same type of passion she has for cosplay, she finally says the words "I love you" to him, but he's already fallen asleep and did not hear her. And that's where the show comes to a close. So let's talk a little bit more about our main character, Kitagawa. She actually is part of a group of Japanese girls that are referred to as Gairu, where they have their own speech pattern and fashion sense. The way they speak, because Kitagawa speaks in a lot of slang, which I personally find hilarious. And her fashion sense, if you looked at her, you would assume, by looking at her, that she is she's the type of girl that would make fun of everything that she's actually interested in, if you looked at her. But yeah, My Dress Up Darling, pretty much anime of the season, in my opinion. Yep, better than Attack on Titan Season 4, better than Demon Slayer's Entertainment District arc, of which that was fantastic. AOT, not so much. I'm just not a big fan of it. But yeah, My Dress Up Darling, anime of the season. Kitagawa, pretty much unrivaled waifu of the season. It's not even been a contest. No one has even come close to her this time around in the winter season. The spring season has quite a few more people battling out for waifu of the season. But yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and until next time, catch you later.